So how long you guys been here?
We moved into this building about a year ago February, so a little over a year now.
So what? How did you guys get started?
Well, it started in the garage, basically. I mean, it was just me building the stuff I needed and out of my apartment, and then later a garage. And then it grew and grew. Matt was our first employee. He started working for me about 5 years ago, and then we just hired his friends and hired their friends and so on, and here we are, as you can see.
So did you guys start off? I mean, how did you? I mean, Florida's not exactly the biggest backpacking state in the country.
No,
right?
I was living in upstate New York when I first started. I was working full time as a software engineer, and I was also doing ZPacks like nights and weekends, kind of like as a hobby job for several years. I went and did the PCT in 2007, then I went and did the CDT in 2009. And both of those times I had to quit my job to go do that. When I went and did the CDT in 2009, like basically my wife and I just like froze our asses off. So we were like, let's go someplace warm. And my grandmother had passed away the year before, and she had a house down here that was like empty. They were trying to sell it, so we came down to house sit for her and ended up just staying down here. So
that's awesome. When you came down here, were you doing software development work?
No, I was like this. Like again, I had quit my job to do the CDT, and I didn't really want to go back to that. So that was when I made the jump to doing this full time. That was 2010.
You still go out and like test your own equipment and do lots of trail work.
Yeah. I mean everything we make is designed and tested by me still. So.
Is this the blue jacket for Karen Orr?
I don't know.
Medium blue rain jacket.
You can throw it on my desk. You're ruining his video, you know.
What? No, you're not.
Where were we?
So so you moved down here and your grandma's house. So like, how'd you just decide I'm going to start making backpacking gear?
Oh well, that was like 10 years ago. I got when I was in high school, I got the idea in my head that I wanted to thru hike the Appalachian Trail. Just started planning and preparing for that. I bought a bunch of like regular gear off the shelf, like the lightest stuff I could get. Quickly realized it wasn't like as light as it could be, and I started making my own stuff. I threw like the AT in 2004, all with homemade gear. Well, pretty much all with homemade gear. A lot of it wasn't that great. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. But a lot of people were impressed with it and said, "Hey, you should start like making this and selling it," and so on. So when I got off of the trail, I started looking into that and started building things.
So how did you market? I mean, did you
I threw up a website and then put some things on eBay, and people found them on eBay, and then they told their friends, and they told their friends, and they told their friends, and so on. We've never done any marketing, really.
Really?
It's all just like word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Yeah. I mean, you're like within our group, it's like somebody will get a piece of gear, and if it turns out to be a great piece of gear, kind of next person and so forth, it winds up spreading it. It seems to be what's happening with the ZPacks backpacks. Or was it Arc Blast, I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm down here. I'm going to go ahead and get fitted for one of those, and we're probably going to look at one of your tents too. So this is your facility here. It looks like essentially a warehouse.
It was a gymnasium when we first moved. Well, before we moved in here, it was a gymnasium, and then they turned it into a community center. That's why they cleaned it all up and made it look pretty for the community center. They were renting it out for events like weddings and poker tournaments and just things that needed a venue. But that wasn't working out so great, so we rented it from them. So that's how we ended up here.
Yeah. So how many employees are you up to?
We have about 60 now.
60 employees. Yeah. That's incredible.
Most of them are here right now, but there's some that aren't.
And everything's pretty much made by hand, huh?
Well, with sewing machines, just regular sewing machines.
Yeah, they are just regular sewing machines. They don't. Yeah, it doesn't even look like
too fancy.
Yeah. So what? So when you hire somebody on board, what do they do? Just like start learning how to use the sewing machine, or because that's not a really common skill anymore.
No, like almost nobody that works for us knew how to sew. Really, I mean, some people did it as a hobby or whatever. Like they'll say, "Oh, I sewed in home ec or something silly," but it doesn't matter. Everybody can learn it in a couple days to a week. It's not hard to learn to sew. I mean, it's a hobby, so it's not a difficult skill to learn. Anybody can make their own stuff.
So how did you wind up learning or using Cuban fiber? How'd that start?
Well, when we first started, we were making everything out of sil nylon. That was like the go-to material a decade ago. But we were also using cord made out of Spectra, like Spectra backpacking cord. So I was thinking like, this would be really cool if somebody could make this into fabric. So I started Googling for that, and lo and behold, this company Cubic Tech was already making sailcloth, like sails for racing yachts out of this stuff. So I found them on the internet and shot them an email and got some samples, and turned out to be great stuff. And here, like now, almost everything we make is Cuban fiber. So.
Yeah, I noticed like we've seen some of the other, I guess like cottage industry type folks switching to Cuban fiber, and it seems to be like a learning process because it's not as stretchable as the still nylon.
I mean, there's intricacies to working with it. Some people switch to it and hate it and can't stand it and stop using it. I mean, not to name names, but there's a couple other cottage companies that, like, you know, they tried it, and it does have its limitations, and it's expensive. It's not the holy grail of material. It does have some really good qualities that we really like, but you know, it also has downsides to it as well. So.
Yeah. What do you see as the downsides?
Oh, well, the cost for one. You know, there are some durability concerns with it. You know, like of a Cuban fiber backpack, it'll last for a long time, especially if you take care of it and are willing to do a few repairs here and there, but it will fray eventually. Will get some wear and tear. It's not going to hold up the same as material that weighs, you know, 4 times as much, like some people are used to.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So is it mostly most of your customers so far are just like regular backpackers and through hikers, or are you seeing like some oddball like use cases?
I mean, I see our core customers, the through hikers, like the people that are going out, you know, for 5 months for the summer, and they want the lightest, best stuff they can get. But the majority of our customers, those are our core customers, but the majority of our customers are just, you know, the everyday weekend warriors, people that are going out and doing the JMT for a week or two, or, you know, the normal guys like me. Like now that when I'm not through hiking, you know, I get out a couple week-long trips a year, and that's your typical backpacker. But those guys want the lightest stuff too, a lot of them. So
right,
that's what they end up looking at our stuff.
So what is there like something beyond Cuban? Are you seeing like some other new materials up on the market?
You know, right now there's nothing really on the horizon that I'm aware of. But I'm always keeping an eye out for that kind of thing. So you never know what the next neat thing will be.
I noticed like on your site you got a version of the Arc Zip, right?
We do.
That's relatively recent.
Yeah, I think that's we first launched that one last year. It's just the Arc Blast, but with a panel loading zipper. Just another way to get into your gear. It opens the front of the pack up. And then we had the Arc Haul. That one's brand new this year. The Arc Haul is a similar design, but it's made with Dyneema grid stop material, which is a little bit thicker, heavier material, and it has a handful of features on it that lets you carry more weight. The Arc Blast, our main Cuban fiber pack, is good up to about maybe 30 pounds, maybe 35 if you really want to push it. The Arc Haul's got like a beefier bell and more padding and some other things that let it go up to about 40 pounds.
Cool. So when you you sort of tweak the designs of the backpack it seems like from year to year. Because I went through and I was trying to figure out, well, I'm going to order a pack. Is there any like special I wanted on it? So do you like sort of like morph the design of the pack as you see people asking for certain features?
Yeah. Like if I get more, like a handful of people, I'll ask for the same thing. I'll add it as an option. Like if people are just asking, like the key, there's one of the most recent ones is an option called a key pocket. It's just like a little pocket inside the top of the backpack with a zipper, so you can throw your keys, your wallet, or your phone, stuff that you want to keep safe while you're hiking that you're not really going to need until you get back to the car. We did one on request for somebody. They posted it on the message board, and then all of a sudden every other person was asking, "Hey, put a key pocket on this." I'm like, "Okay, well now it's a standard option." So that's how that stuff happens a lot of the time. Is one person asks about it and posts it, and then everybody asks for it, and then it becomes a feature.
Cool. Yeah, and I know it's like the forums seem to be pretty active too, like you know, like backpacking light and stuff seem to.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of our biggest sources of traffic is people that have our gear and they're discussing it and talking about the pros and cons and so on, and other people see it. I mean, that's the word of mouth that basically that's how everybody finds out about us.
So you got, what's the other pack you have? The one that's like literally an a la carte pack. Your starter page is just a blank bag.
The Zero.
The Zero.
We call it the Zero because it starts off with basically 0 options. It's just a bag, and you can put anything you want on it: pockets, side straps, base straps, top strap, like just a variety of different pockets and storage, like all the normal stuff that would go in a backpack, except a frame. It doesn't have a frame on it. just a frameless back.
Yeah, what do you see as far as like frame versus frameless? You seem to be one of like the well, number one, you have a frame and it's an innovative frame, right?
Right.
Like that's the one thing that everybody that first watches it, somebody else that'll come along and say, look, it does this.
Yeah.
You know, with the
I did 3 through hikes with frameless packs, like up until I would say probably 2011. All of our packs were frameless. We would, tell people to wrap their sleeping pad, like a foam sleeping pad, or on the inside, like coil it up as a frame inside the pack, or pack their gear tight. And that's just because, that's the easiest way to make a backpack, and you got to start somewhere. But enough people were asking for a frame, so finally we came up with something, and now we have our arc frame, which is somewhat unique in that it's actually just straight carbon fiber, and it's bowed under tension so that you get like an air gap against your back. So you have airflow to keep you cool and cushion against any lumpy stuff. And I really like the frame now. It only adds 2.5, 3 ounces to the weight of the backpack. And as far as I'm concerned, the extra comfort that frame adds is totally worth a couple ounces of weight. So, I mean, I don't think I would ever go back to a frameless pack again unless it was just for like a day hike or like a canoe trip. Or there are situations where I would still use a frameless pack, but I couldn't see doing a through hike without it. I mean, there's just no reason to when what we have is so much better and doesn't weigh that much more. So.
I know the Zero is kind of like a day pack size. How many cubic inches? Or?
We have 4 sizes of it. You can get it all the way from something about that big that would be a day pack up to the biggest packs we make. Some people just like frameless packs, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we've got it as long as people keep asking for it.
Keep asking for it. So, you have like a workflow in here, or is it like one person at a time, like is devoted to making one?
You might notice there's different pods. Each pod is like dedicated to a certain type of product. Like the ones up front are doing accessories. Back towards the middle, we've got people doing tents, and then backpacks, sleeping bags, rain gear, and so on. Like each area has their specialty, and there's 6 to 10 people per division doing each of those things that was listed off.
How long have you been doing the sleeping bags? Maybe I didn't pay attention, but I was just surfing the web before I came.
I don't know, 2010 or 11. 2010 or 11. So 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So were most of your customers from like all over the country? Or
yeah, I mean, it's probably skewed towards West Coast, California. Is a big one, but all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah, we're in DC, but we have people that are hiking. Like I guess they had GMT they did last year, and we're going out to Colorado to do part of the Colorado Trail this year. We go out of it, so it's definitely real popular name. Cool. All right, well, thanks, Sarah. I just wanted to do a little Q&A. I might shoot some of these, or I go through the process of ordering myself here. Okay. But it's cool, and it's cool that I got to come here since I happen to be down here.
Yeah.
And order.
No problem.
Thanks.
Welcome. Ask for our call or.
Show me the Arc Glass. That seems to be the popular one right now. And then the Arc Hall.
So this is the Arc Blast. It's carbon fiber. The neat thing about this pack is our frame, like I was saying in the other video, like it's a straight carbon frame, but then you have tensioners at the top and the bottom. What you do is you cinch that down, and now you've got that gap against your back and the airflow. Just makes it more comfortable against your back, and it keeps the pack rigid and keeps, helps transfer more weight to your hips. So this pack is probably a short torso, medium belt. I don't know if you wanted to try something on or what. It's going out to somebody. Probably.
Yeah, I'm like Mr. Medium. I'm 5'10". I tend to be Mr. Medium on everything. So yeah. There we go. The video will turn out at one. I tried one. We had like a, what do you call it? Gear swap thing. It's more of like a gear demo thing. And we had a couple of guys, but one guy neither guy was really my size, so I didn't know. your storage, are those standard? The storage
They're
pocket things?
add-ons.
They're add-ons.
Well, do you have the belt where you want it to be? Is it like riding where you would normally want the belt to ride, or?
Usually,
Start by putting the belt like where you want it.
usually a little bit lower than that. It feels high.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Feels like it's kind of.
where you put it.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad now that it's in the correct spot. Again, that's short, so it's an inch down from medium. And there's no weight in the pack.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to
That
tell.
would make a difference, but yeah, it looks about right. Like the straps are, just level or maybe just a hair lower than your shoulders as it is. So.
What are the big fit things?
Well, I mean, you can get it with an adjustable torso height where you can move the straps up or down.
Oh, the things that go on the top.
No. Is that still on? That video camera.
Yeah.
It's still on. So the adjustable torso
Yep. You're right.
works like this. Like it's a conveyor belt basically, and you can pop the buckle and move the straps up or down in a range, like to wherever you need it to be. Just a little bit there. But if you're not sure what your torso height is, you can get that, and then you can just move the straps up or down as you need to.
Does that add much weight?
It adds about an ounce between this and the low-lifter straps.
Any other advantages to having that versus that?
I mean, the main point of it is just to be able to adjust your straps if you're not sure what you need. Like if you were ordering it online and you didn't know how it was going to fit exactly, that'd be helpful for a lot of people.
The hardest thing I find ordering a pack is you order it and then you gotta, until you take it out for a hike, you really don't know, right?
Yeah. Makes it a little more difficult for some people. We do exchanges and everything, so if you get it wrong, you can always send it in and swap it out, that sort of thing.
So the arc haul.
So the arc haul is actually an arc haul zip. It's got the zipper panel opening. And I'm going to have to tell them to fix this one because they did something stupid on it. It's a good thing I looked at it. You're not allowed to order shock cord on an arc haul. Or, sorry, an arc haul zip, because if you try and open the panel, now they can't open it. So a customer ordered shock cord probably off of the Arc Blast page. They weren't really supposed to get this on this pack. And now it's not going to work. So that's the sort of thing we have to watch out for. But anyway, some of the features on an arc haul, it's got the belt is attached directly to the bottom of the frame, so you're really like lifting right on the frame. It's got 3D mesh on the inside of the belt, which is it's softer and more grippy. It doesn't slide around on your hips as much. It's got V-style belt webbing, so you can adjust the belt at the top and the bottom independently to really like grab the angle of your hips. The straps have the 3D mesh as well. And then it's got our adjustable torso height where you can move the straps up or down. Standard.
That's standard.
On this one, yeah.
So if it rains or something, does that absorb water at all?
It does. A little bit. It's not terrible, but yeah, you are going to get... I mean, some people like it because it absorbs sweat and it's softer against their skin if you're hiking without a shirt on or whatever. But yeah, the downside of 3D mesh is it does absorb a little bit of water, so it's a trade-off. It just depends what you'd rather have. Again, the belt, you can cinch down the top, cinch down the bottom independently, and like even a guy with no hips has a curve. So like the top here is twerked in like this on me, so it's much sturdier as far as holding that weight on the belt.
I know some of the other manufacturers are reading there are problems with the belts like slipping, but is there any problem with these ones, like this one that has the
well, again, yeah, I mean the Cuban fiber, it depends. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but the Cuban fiber is more smooth than the 3D mesh, so this is going to grip you a little better than this does. And it's just a matter of like how much weight you're carrying. If you're carrying 20 pounds, this is fine. You're not going to have an issue there. If you're carrying 30, 35 pounds, you might feel it start slipping. which is why we put the 3D mesh on the pack that's meant to carry up to 40. Like you need it when you're up at that weight, but you don't need it when you're down at 20 necessarily.
Cool. What are those hats up there?
That's our pointy hat.
Yeah.
Those are all going out to people.
Definitely a pointy hat.
Yeah, that's what I wear all the time. It's my signature hat, basically.
Well, you go out there, yeah.
Good in the sun, good in the rain.
That's on the site too?
Yeah, that's on the site. On that clothing page.
So I know the website also might recommend like having a liner on the inside of it. Are these like waterproof enough that you don't have to have something on the inside, or?
Well, before I forget about. So this one's a good one to show you because you can really open it up. All the seams, everything like the shoulder straps and all the attachments, everything is taped over on the inside. All the seams are taped over. The material itself is waterproof material. So we did as good a job as we can trying to keep the water out. They're highly water resistant. I would still use something extra, like it could be dry bags, it could be a pack cover, it could be a pack liner, a poncho, just in case. Like, I mean, it might be waterproof when you get it, but you know, a month down the trail, you might have a little bit of abrasion that you don't even notice somewhere, and that's going to let water in, or maybe the top of the pack isn't sealed completely, or maybe the zipper has something going on. But you know, it's extremely difficult to keep things 100% watertight. So this is watertight as we can get it, but I would still use something else, just in case.
So do you recommend like a cover over the outside or a bag on the inside?
It depends on your preference. I mean, with a pack like the Arc Zip, where it's got the panel opening, you don't want to use a single liner on the inside because then you couldn't get at your stuff because it'd all be in that one big bag. But that's normally what I do. I normally use the regular backpack that doesn't have this opening. It just has the top opening. And then I would just use a bag on the inside, whether it's one of our pack liners that we sell or just a trash compactor bag, or you know, or something lighter. It doesn't matter. Just something, or just individual dry bags. Just any of those things would be good. And I usually use a pack liner or dry bags or any other. I don't like pack covers because I don't like to stop and get it out and put it on every time the rain starts.
And it doesn't do you any good if it starts downpouring, right?
Well, I mean, if you stop and put it on, but yeah, I want to just throw my jacket on, put my pack back on, and keep going, and I have to think about it or spend a lot of time fussing around. And the rain stops 5 minutes later, and you're like, oh, well, undo it all. So.
Any big equipment tips for ULers?
You know, I don't know. You have to be more specific than that.
Well, you know, anything like either interesting equipment that's a nice trade-off for weight, you know, or lightweight items that you can add to your backpack or to your hiking that really help.
Honestly, like everything we sell, but check out our website and just look at everything. We make quilts. A quilt is a good way to save weight. Our quilt is a lot like a sleeping bag, except it doesn't have an integrated hood on it. The way it works is it does have a zipper, but the zipper's on the bottom. So when you're in this, it's going to wrap around you like that. Most of the time you wouldn't even bother zipping the zipper. You're just going to wrap up in it like a blanket or like a quilt. But on those really cold nights when you can't afford to have a draft coming in, you can zip it on the bottom. But that'll save you a decent amount of weight over a bag with an integrated hood. Another advantage of that is you can buy, we make hoods that are separate from the bag that you can get. And if you do that, let's say you're turning around in the night, you don't end up with the sleeping bag in your face. The hood turns with you. Plus you can wear the hood in camp, or you can wear the hood when you're hiking if you need to. Or maybe you don't need a hood, maybe you can just use like a fleece hat or your jacket hood or something else and save that weight. So.
Do you do booties? That was something that went around our group, was it last year?
The dude that, we actually get our hoods made by a guy named Ben Smith at Goose Feet Gear, and he makes down booties. So if you want down booties, just get them from him.
Yeah, okay. So most of these, you're also selling like little stuff sacks and stuff like that on the site?
Yeah, we make stuff sacks and dry bags and all sorts of little stuff
cool
like that.
Stuff.
Zip pouches.
Cool. All right. Any other new equipment on the horizon that you're looking at doing?
You know, I want to do an insulated jacket eventually. I just need to make the patterns for it. We've got the materials and everything, and I know how to do it. It's just a matter of making patterns and finding the time. It's just right now everything's so busy that it's hard to find an hour to do anything, let alone a day or two to do patterns. So
yeah, you guys are definitely cranking.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
It'll slow down next month, probably in July and August.
When do you do your personal hiking time? Do you do winter time or summer? Or?
Whenever, but I mean, Matt and I are going to go do the Tour de Mont Blanc in July. That's like a week and a half trip. It goes around a mountain. It goes from Switzerland to Italy to France, and then around this circle, around this mountain.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, we're flying to Geneva, Switzerland to do that in mid-July this year.
Wow, is that you've been to Europe much hiking?
I've never been to Europe, so well, unless you count Scotland, but I've never been to mainland Europe, so this will be our first time in that area of the world.
Awesome.
And we'll test some new things and see how they go. So,
all right, cool.
business trip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Too fun. You can do some advertising when you're there. Shirts.
Maybe.
It looks like cotton.
It is cotton.
Hey.
I'm not hiking.
What?
This is my work everyday shirt.
All right. All right. Cool. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and get measured for a backpack and order a tent. Thank you.
All right. Yep.